Hello house lovers, another glorious autumnal COVID day in Melbourne, and I think it's time for us to revisit our visit, if that's not a tautology, with Adrian Richardson of La Luna Bistro. We'll go back and pick up where we left off. Adrian will take us into his kitchen and show us some of the design features that he thinks are very important, and we'll chat about things including salamanders, which might surprise you when we get to that point. But first, a tiny, quick interlude. I want you to come with me into the Chappelle Corby Memorial Courtyard, where there is something very interesting that I discovered in amongst the carnage of some of the kitchen cabinets that I was pulling out. We were talking about upcycling and recycling a few weeks ago, so I want to show you an early example of that I discovered. Come with me. So have a look at this. When I was demolishing some of the kitchens upstairs, this was one of the bases of it, and it sat that way up, and this was the inside of a cupboard. Now, when I pulled it out, I noticed on the bottom this piece of decorative finished timber, and you can see here there's an old escutcheon hole. So this was the front of a drawer. But what's more interesting is this design. This is a basic piece of pine, and this design here is called scumbling, and it's sort of a mid to late 19th century design technique whereby you would paint a surface on timber, on a cheap timber, to make it look like a more expensive one, like oak or mahogany or even rosewood. So this is the front of a scumbled drawer that someone in Bonaccord House used to make a kitchen cupboard base, an early example of upcycling. There we go. Upcycling History 101. But now let us return to Adrian and find out about this mythic, magical triangle of operation in kitchens.
The other thing I think people often refer to in kitchens is this magic triangle of the journey from the stove to the sink to the fridge, and in your case the dishwasher as well.
Right.
So that's four. So what do you think about that? What is that divine ratio? I mean, should you be able to just stroll from one to the other? I mean, is it just a myth? Is it true? What do you reckon?
Well, it's always handy to be able to turn around and grab something and keep cooking and go to the fridge. It's always handy if it's close by.
Yeah.
And that does work, and you don't want to sort of be tripping over yourself. But what I think is, if you're thinking more about where people are walking through, so you haven't got a dishwasher that sort of, when you open it up, it stops everyone from walking.
Which ours does. We're in a crackly designed rental, and when you pull down the dishwasher, you actually can't open anything or get to anything else.
See what I mean? You can't have two people in the kitchen.
You can't.
You know, when you reach for the fridge, you know, you're blocking the doorway. You need to think about those sorts of things that make it sort of, make it efficient. Yeah. And a good place to pile up all your dishes over the side there, so you can dump it all over there and then leave it there and then wash it up later on.
Okay. Well, you know what? Maybe we should go and look at your kitchen.
Okay, Mr. Richardson, or do you like to be called chef?
You can call me whatever you want. Just Richardson.
Can I?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, ooh, that will censor that. You lead the way to the kitchen, 1.5 metres, and I'll come and follow you. Okay, we are 1.5 metres apart still, and we are in the kitchen of La Luna, where the magic happens. Adrian, talk us through your setup here. Obviously, it's very different to a domestic kitchen, and I'm going to move this.
Well, as you were telling us before about the triangle,
Yep.
the idea of this kitchen is everything's close. The fridges are here with the food. They take it out, they cook it on
Yep.
the pans or on the grill or on the fryer, where everything tastes even better. And then they plate it up here, and then it goes out to the punters.
Yep.
And the idea is you can have three chefs along here. They all stay put, stay where they are, and it all happens very quickly. The less movement, the better. That's the idea of this kitchen.
So that is the secret of the whole triangle thing. What's that up there?
This is what we call a salamander, which is it's a grill that heats from the top.
It's a lizard. That's...
Basically it changes the colour of the food you put in there.
Yeah.
If you want to brown something off on the top of it, put some cheese on it. Under the salamander, it changes colour, and that's where I think it gets its name. In the US, they'll call it a broiler because it hits from the top.
Yeah.
A great piece of equipment, something we use constantly. It's on, and you'll often finish a little piece of fish under there. You add a little bit of heat to it, a little bit of colour. That's how it works.
I like the name salamander. Now, we were just talking about this here, which I will just show everyone. Talk us through that.
This is called a target top, and this is a very old piece of equipment. You don't often see them in kitchens, but I love them, not because I'm old at all, but because I love old piece of equipment. And what it is, it's kind of like gas induction. underneath this piece here, which you can lift up here, there's a couple of gas rings.
Yeah.
And what you would do is you light that up, and as it heats up, the center part here is quite hot.
Yeah.
If you put a pan onto it, it'll heat up really quickly. So if you want to brown it off, you'll get the heat from it in the pan.
Yeah.
But as you want to cook it slower, you can move it out from the ring and it cooks out a little bit slower, and then all the way out, and it cooks nice and gently. That's the idea of it.
So that is kind of like gas induction that's not induction, which brings us to the subject of induction. Where do you stand on the induction paradigm?
Well, the old induction was very difficult to use.
Yeah.
I've seen over the years the quality of induction improve a lot.
Yeah.
There's induction stoves where you can actually use the whole service, and I love that because you can have lots of different pots on.
Yeah.
I find induction is fantastic for getting heat up really quickly. Nothing will boil water faster than induction. You know, it's like it's got a nuclear power plant next to your kitchen, so it'll come up really quickly.
Yeah.
It takes a little while to get the hang of. It's probably like getting a new iPhone.
Yes.
It takes you a couple of minutes to get the hang of it, but
Yeah,
once
yeah,
you do, they're actually very, very good, very accurate,
Yeah.
very easy to control. And I think the thing that a lot of people really, really like about induction cooktops is they're really easy to keep clean, and that's important.
True. Okay, so the good doctor is very passionate about induction. So if you are tossing up, I mean, it depends if you have gas available, so electricity, gas, induction, how would you come to the decision about what to choose?
Well, look for me, I do like the gas. I do like to see it. I do like gas for a lot of reasons. But you know what? In the ideal world, I would have half gas, half induction.
And what would you'd have a regular cooktop that was gas?
A regular cooktop that's gas,
Yeah.
but I would have maybe a smaller cooktop next to it that's induction, because if I want to boil some water, bang, up it comes. If I want to cook something really, really slowly and gently, induction's fantastic for that as well. If you want to have some fun and you know, user-friendly, gas is really good as well. That would be the ideal world for me.
A mix.
Yes.
Okay, we'll have to pass this intel on to the good doctor. Thank you, Mr. Richardson.
Absolute pleasure.
Well, there we are. And a very big thank you to Adrian for so generously giving of his time to explain to us all about salamanders and golden triangles, if they were in fact golden. But wait, there is more. So next week there'll be even more of Adrian's interview, because he was so fascinating and delightful to talk to, and full of practical tips that I just hadn't considered. So I think we'll all enjoy meeting him for one more hurrah. Now, be careful out there in COVID land. As you know, the good doctor is a respiratory specialist, and the first COVID cases have started to turn up in ICU wards in Melbourne. So it's getting real, as they say in church circle. Take care, stay at home, like me. This is one home. Oh, I feel this is an essential service, and no one comes to this house apart from me, so no one else is fingering that magnificent doorknob apart from me. And I have my own hand sanitizer, even though I am the only person who is in the house. Well, house lovers, as I said, take care. Let's reconvene next week and see how we're all doing. Enjoy reading, enjoy Netflix, and until next week, see you later.